From which media institution? Jacaranda FM, CCTV, all of them are here. Colleagues from the media, I know that we have kept you since 12 o'clock this morning. Can we please close the door? We are just about to start with the briefing. We must apologize, President, to members of the media. They've been here since 12 o'clock. We gave them lunch and everything. This was an extended session of the National Working Committee. I'm going to invite the President of the African National Congress to come and present the statement detailing precautionary measures that are ANC aligned in support of the statement that was presented by the President of the Republic yesterday on how we are dealing with the coronavirus, the outbreak. All officials are here, the President, the Treasurer General, the Deputy President, the National Chairperson, the Secretary General, and the Deputy Secretary General. Members of the National Executive Committee are also here. We have complied with what government said. We are not more than 100, President. So can we now invite the President of the ANC to come and present our statement as part of the outcomes of this extended National Working Committee. Over to you, President.
Thank you, Comrade Pule Mabe, and thank you to members of the media for coming. We've taken time, those of us deployed in government, to come and report to the Extended National Working Committee of the African National Congress on the steps and measures that were announced yesterday and how they will impact on the African National Congress as well as its work in society. Let me start off by saying, having made the announcement yesterday, we have sought to comply with the measures that were announced yesterday. None of us sitting here and in the NEC shook hands with anybody. We were elbowing each other, and we found that it's quite a pleasant mode of greeting. And we would like to continue encouraging South Africans to continue with a mode of greeting. It may be new to all of us, but it is rather pleasant, and it is also going to prevent the spread of this virus. We also took time not to hug each other, which had become a common way of greeting with some amongst us. So compliance is in the process of being implemented. This, for the ANC, was a timeless briefing because the ANC did need to embrace what government has announced, and the ANC expressed itself in full support of the measures that government announced and wants to actively participate in ensuring that the measures that were announced yesterday are implemented. But at the same time, the ANC itself has some tasks, and some of its tasks are to curtail its own activities, particularly in relation to the large meetings that were being planned and that are part and parcel of the process of the work that we do in the African National Congress. The extended NWC agreed to comply with the prohibition that was announced yesterday that we should not have meetings of more than 100 people. It has an impact on the ANC because we were planning to have our branch general meetings. In a number of cases, there are more than 100 people who attend. We were planning to have our regional conferences, our provincial conferences, and the same applies to the other structures of the ANC in the form of our leagues. the NWC has accepted that all those should be suspended. From henceforth, branch general meetings, conferences at regional, provincial level are going to be suspended. And those structures that were going to have to hold those manifestations in the form of conferences because of the time frame that they had been given, their time frame, all of them will be extended by 3 months, and we will review the situation after the 3-month period. In other words, if, for instance, like in the Northwest, the interim political committee that had been put in place, the IPC, was meant to end in April, we're extending that by 3 months. And the same will apply right across the board. But at the same time, we're saying that our branch executive committees must continue with their work. So the ANC does not go to sleep. The ANC does not die. If there ever was the time when the ANC must actually get down to working, this is the time. So branch executive committees are expected to carry on with their work, and in fact, they are supposed to reinvigorate their work, because as a leader of society, we are now called upon to lead society in a variety of ways, particularly when it comes to mobilizing the public to understand what the impact of coronavirus is going to be, mobilizing the public on the change of behavior in the form of washing hands, not greeting with handshakes, and being much more resolute in our hygiene, in our homes, where we live, and all that. The ANC Branch Executive Committee is required and expected to activate mobilization to make our people aware of coronavirus and to educate our people. And we will do this by embarking on door-to-door work in our communities, where we will go from house to house and explain to our people what this is all about. And this is going to be necessary as this virus continues to be present amongst us. And we are hoping, obviously, that we will be able to contain it, but it may happen that it begins to spread. And when it does, that's when the leadership of our communities, particularly in the form of ANC branch leadership, will need to be amongst our people. But we also expect our branch executive committees to be working with various other structures in society. It could be with other political parties, as we believe that this is not the time to politicize this virus. We must work with all other formations in society, political parties, religious organizations, sporting organizations, stokvels, youth organizations, women's organizations, you name them. We must be working and walking amongst them to make sure that we contain the virus. In our door-to-door work, we will also be distributing pamphlets and making sure that the educative part of the work that we want to spread amongst our people is properly reinforced. We want to take time to commend our health workers throughout the country. Our health workers are going to be in the forefront of helping us to contain and fight this virus. We want all of society to support our health workers, and we want our branch executive committee members to be giving them maximum support, to be helping them. We truly appreciate the work that they are doing, and some of them are going to put themselves in the risky line of executing what needs to be done. So we want to support them, And that includes, of course, our social workers, because they too are going to be the ones who are going to comfort our people, those who might have family members who might be inflicted in all this. And they will also be helping to reduce the panic levels that may ensue amongst our people. The NWC also took time to talk about the impact of this virus on the economy and appreciated the steps that the government is going to be embarking on. We briefed them that this morning there was a meeting at NEDLEC where government, through its ministers and officials, was able to engage with business, labor, and communities. And those engagements will continue because we want a real solid social compact that all of us will subscribe to, so that we are able to shore up our economy beyond these very difficult and testing times. We're expecting that we will, at government level, be able economic difficulties that we are going through without breaching the fiscal framework that we already have. All in all, the ANC National Working Committee Extended, which brought together our colleagues from provinces as well, was quite satisfied with the work that government is doing. And those of us deployed in government felt, if you like, comforted that the support of the African National Congress is given to those who are carrying on with this work, and we carry on with strength, knowing that our movement is fully behind the work that we are doing in government. But lastly, we want to give a very strong and positive message to our people. We are heartened with the way that our people are responding. We are already getting reports that behavior change is beginning to seep into the way we conduct ourselves. And as we spread out all the various supportive measures that are going to be spread out throughout the country, we are confident that our people will rise to the occasion and be part of this charge that we all need to get involved in against this virus. But lastly, we also want to thank our ministers. Today, we had up to 18 ministers briefing the media, but more particularly the nation, about the work that government is doing. We hope to continue acting and coming across transparently and openly to our people, because during this type of crisis, we need all hands on deck, both media, people in government, people in society. All of us must act together. I am going to have a meeting with all political parties in Cape Town, and we will be discussing how, as political parties, we should approach this virus, this crisis that the country is facing, from a non-political point of view, non-political partisan point of view, so that we all join hands together and make sure that as political parties we work together to address this virus. I will be looking forward to gaining from their wisdom and their insight on how best we should proceed in making sure that we contain this virus. And lastly, we continue to thank our colleagues who are leading this charge, Dr. Mkhize and other ministers, because they are doing a fantastic job. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, President, and thank you to members of the media. We will...
I forgot to say that one of the more important things you would have wanted to know is that all the conferences, including the NGC, the National General Council, is also postponed until further notice. So provincial conferences, regional conferences, the National General Council of the ANC, conferences of the Youth League, conferences of our provinces, and indeed the Women's League, they are all postponed until further notice. I just wanted to make that very clear so that there should never be any doubt. The Extended National Working Committee so decided. Thank you very much. The TG, in the spirit of transparency, I thought I will hold this back and do it tomorrow. He says, no, you must also tell them that we're going to hold a meeting. The National Command Council will hold a meeting with religious leaders on Thursday at the union buildings. We will have brought together all religious leaders so that they can get a full presentation about this virus, and we can then have a discussion on how, as religious leaders, we're going to address this, particularly as we are moving towards very important moments of manifestations, Easter and what have you. So that meeting is also going to take place. So we are all going to be very busy consulting with our people and making sure that we do the best we can. And where we err, we know that we will have the wisdom of those that we are consulting with to make sure that we do the best for South Africans at all times. Thank you very much, TG, for reminding me.
Thank you very much, President. Tsidi, we are not going to be taking questions. The President has presented, we will be issuing the statement, which will be, can I just finish?
Thank you so much.
Okay, no, that's okay. That's okay, that's okay. That's okay, that's okay. We are going to open that space. We will take only one round of questions to compensate for the time you have already spent here with us today. But to also clarify our people out there, you can just say your name, the media outlet you represent, and go on with your question. Officials are here. They will all respond to your questions. Okay? Yeah? Lizega, Tsidi, Spu, Samkelo, Jagaranda, Sisi.
Tsidi Madia, News 24, thank you so much. I hear the ANC speaking about mobilizing and how you're going to do door-to-doors. I mean, how is that still the answer in 2020 where you're asking people to self-isolate and social distance, but then you speak about going out to do door-to-doors? Isn't it an ancient approach to a modern illness in a modern world? Would this be for IR? Thank you.
Okay, Lizega.
Mr. President, Chinese economy is expected to contract by 6%. This is news from CNN. They say retail sales have plunged to 20.5% and the industrial output is down 13.5%. Our economy is currently in recession, and we've seen a lot of panic from South Africans and not South Africans going to retail stores, stocking up on goods and food. So I'd like to ask, how do you allay these fears from South Africans in terms of the economy, how we are going to ensure that our economy doesn't plummet?
Okay, Samkelo.
Before Samkelo, Mr. President, Sibusi Songa, News from Africa. Mr. President, mine is also related to the economy. This morning, the Minister of Finance announced that they're looking for money to fund the response to the coronavirus, and that it may get to a point where they stop slice some of the allocations to the departments. Is it time now where perhaps you should announce a revision of some of the promises you made in the State of the Nation?
Samkela from the SABC. President, I want to take off from your address to the nation last night, particularly with travel bans to the countries that are heavily affected by this virus. For instance, the European Union, the UK, and China are one of our biggest trading partners. How did they take the decision of your government, and which your ruling party has now endorsed, of imposing travel bans on them? How did those discussions go? Did you consult them in those consultations that you had? And then on the coronavirus, in line with Stevie, you speak of the fourth industrial revolution, yet there is no plan that you have in place as a governing party in order to interact with people using methods that go in line with the fourth industrial revolution, like your Twitter, your techno-savvy apps that you may use. In that regard, do you have any plans? And then lastly, with the ANC, and particularly with the NGC, in Mpumalanga, your members have been killed over the past few weeks. 2, in fact. What does the ANC say with the violence that's been going on in that province, particularly as a person who went to negotiate a settlement when the SACP and the ANC were loggerheads with the then leadership that was there in the province? How are you going to resolve that crisis this time around with violence sporadic again in the ANC structures? Thank you.
Senator Jacaranda, Mr. President, you talk about not having places where more than 100 people at a time. Is there a practical way, for example, taxi rank and bus stations, where those spaces are filled with thousands of people at times? So practical ways to ensure that there isn't a spread there. So basically, is there a practical plan for also your RDP homes that house 6 to 8 people at a time who can't keep the social distance and cannot be not less than 100 people in it?
Okay, there are the questions. President, as you are coming, I think just to clarify them that there's already a digital campaign that the ANC is running on its own Twitter pages. We have got just over 700,000 followers there. And we just published today the do's and don'ts around the coronavirus. These are part of the means and ways that we are using, whether it's on Instagram, it's on Facebook, and all of them. That's why we must just pass on that one as well, please.
Well, there you got it. Pule Mabe is techno-savvy. He's our quintessential 4IR man at Lutuli House. So he's already told you how we are interfacing with the digital world. In relation to TD, the door-to-door, and I was quite intrigued when you said you want to ask the question on behalf of the nation. I thought that was rather, that was quite nice. The door-to-door process is the tried and tested method that the African National Congress has always used to relate to its members, to be with its members. In times of joy and hardship, we've always sought to have that connection with our people. We can say that we possibly are the only organization in the country that has a wall-to-wall reach right across the nation, and that has been achieved through our door-to-door work. Now, when we do door-to-door, it is, you can say it's in a number of categories. When the top 6 officials go on door-to-door, we always have a number of our local branch people going along with us, and we go, maybe you'll find that there are 50 people who go into a house and all that. We're now going to curtail that. Door-to-door this time must mean that only 1 or 2 of our local leaders, including us if we go, will go into a house to go and deal with the challenges that our households may be having. And this you cannot do through Twitter. You've got to have that contact with our people. And obviously, those who will do door-to-door, we are going to be very strict. If they have a flu or flu symptoms, door-to-door work is banned. If they have a headache or whatever, door-to-door work is banned. We will only want to have those healthy people who will be able to go and do door-to-door. But door-to-door work does not mean that we do not utilize other media like Twitter, like Facebook and so forth, which you heard Pulemabe talk about. They are also wonderful aids of enabling communication to happen between us as the African National Congress and our membership. We have a database of well over 1.5 million of our members. We know where they are and so forth, and we are able to communicate with them utilizing modern technology, but it will never replace being able to go and see our people. And I can assure you, when we go, we're not going to be spreading any disease. We're not going to be doing handshakes. We're going to be dealing with some of the challenges that they may have, but also communicating a very clear message about how South Africans should be deporting themselves during the period of coronavirus. And we will be distributing pamphlets. Twitter cannot distribute a well-worded pamphlet. We will be able to do so physically. Second question has to do with the China's economy, which is going to contract, and they are already seeing their economy going down by 6%. I did say almost a few weeks ago that coronavirus is going to have an impact on our economy, and so it is coming to pass. I would like all of us as South Africans to realize that we are going through a period which we've never gone through before since our own democracy. This is going to be a testing period for all of us. It is going to have a negative impact on our economy. Our economy, which is already in technical recession, is going to be negatively impacted upon. We can already see it with the various travel bans that are being imposed by other nations, which we have also imposed, are going to have a negative impact on our tourism. And we didn't take this decision lightly. Europe, the United States, bring in a lot of tourist travelers to our country. And by preventing travel between ourselves as South Africa and those countries is going to have a negative impact. And negative impact is going to impact on jobs, the sustainability of jobs and job creation. This virus requires that all of us must work together. Yes, we're going to run out of certain supplies, but fortunately, we are a country that produces in large measure its own food. So food will continue to be produced in our country. As we talk now, we hear that stocks of masks and sanitizers are running out because people are rushing in to stock those. And companies are also going to up their own production. But the greatest concern we have is that this should not lead to a rise in cost of living. So we are going to be looking at how best we can try and give a soft landing to our economy, difficult as it is going to be. Is this going to lead to us revising some of our SONA commitments with, say, for instance, a top slicing that may happen? Because we do have to find money to address the coronavirus challenge. And what we could say is that fortunately, quite often, there is underspending on a number of other budgeted items. So we will look at the incidence of underspending historically and see how best such funds can be utilized. This is an extraordinary moment. It needs extraordinary measures. And we are going to embark on those extraordinary measures, even at the economic level. And it does not necessarily lead to revising our SONA commitments in such stark monetary terms. The commitments we have made for youth employment, for infrastructure build, those will continue as they must, because they are meant precisely to address the situation of economic stagnation and unemployment. So I do not see those coming down. But the important thing is that we are a government that is going to seek solutions to address the coronavirus negative economic impact that it's going to have on our country. Samkelo asks, did we communicate our travel bans with the various governments? Yes, of course we do. We are a government that works in terms of diplomatic protocols and diplomatic processes. So when we embark on processes like this, we do communicate. And of course, everyone realizes that we are faced with a most challenging moment, and every country's first job and task is to protect its own citizens, which is what we are doing as South Africans. Our first loyalty is to protect the lives of South Africans, and the first incursion of the virus came through people who had visited another foreign country, which we have now identified as the source of the virus that has come into our country, and hence we have decided to impose a ban on that country, Italy, and a number of others, for fear that even those people who've been to other countries, as they have experienced their own incidents of virus eruption, will have an impact on us. So we've communicated. Of course, no country will take it, gladly and laughingly, but everyone realizes that indeed we've got to take measures to protect ourselves. Is there a plan for communication? Yes, there is. Twitter, as you mentioned, is one of those that we are going to utilize to communicate with our people. And the National Command Council is going to be dealing with this matter on an ongoing basis. And we are going to be interacting, as I said, with various stakeholders right across the country. We will be making sure that we listen to their wisdom, we listen to their ideas, and in doing so, we will be sharpening our own wits and our own processes so that they become better streamlined to save the lives of South Africans. You talk about our structures, particularly in Mpumalanga, where we've experienced deaths. We regret the deaths that have occurred in Mpumalanga, and we condemn the deaths of our members in Mpumalanga. We are extremely concerned that ANC members should find it so easy to quarrel among themselves, to differ among themselves, up to and including a point where they unleash violence against each other, including some losing their lives. So we condemn that, and we are going to go to the bottom of this, as we are, and we will make sure that the perpetrators of this are really seriously taken to book. Those people who've killed other people in ANC meetings do not deserve to be members of the ANC, and in fact should not be members of the African National Congress, because their actions go completely against what the ANC stands for, its principles, its values, and its ethos. And we will be taking strong action to deal with acts of indiscipline. And we will also be ensuring that the various activities that are taking place in Mpumalanga are properly scrutinized, are properly looked at, so that we do not have such incidents ever again. Sinetemba asks about taxi ranks, bus stations, and RDP houses that have more than 40 people or so. This, I must tell you, is one of our areas of greatest concern. The apartheid special architecture has bequeathed us with a flawed transport system, a transport system which compels our people to utilize these modes of transport in large numbers. And obviously, this is an area where we could face enormous challenges. And the National Command Council is going to be looking very closely at how we address the challenge that is bound to come when the outbreak begins to go to a number of other places where many of our people either live or get transported. And we think and get concerned about an outbreak in where our people live, in the informal settlements. That is one of the greatest concerns we have, but we will be discussing that because we will want to ensure that prevention and containment does take place at a more maximum level in those areas. But all in all, I'd like to thank you for all these questions which you are asking on behalf of the nation, and say that we've got right now, we've got things under control. We think we acted at the right time as government, and obviously as this virus continues to spread, we will be upping our game. And I want to reiterate that our colleagues who are in the health sector, who are in government, who are doing all this work, are doing a fantastic job in raising awareness amongst our people, but also in making sure that we are better prepared. One can never be more prepared, but we are better prepared right now. And as we move forward, we will be continuing to even get more prepared for the effects of this virus. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. I'm sure the President has clarified all the questions. Members of the media, on behalf of the nation, can we now close the session? And thank you for coming and spending your day with us. Go and make the rightful reflections out there and make sure that South Africans join us in this journey to find a solution. Thank you very much.
What for? Okay. Why? Yeah.
No, thanks, President.
I think it's